run by Leroy Horde like he's had before. But if that's Robert Smith, it's 6 points for the Minnesota Vikings, most likely.
Welcome back, everybody. Tobin and Leroy here with you, 560 WQAM. There you heard on the way in. A mistake. A mistake we've had
the beginning of what has been about 10 years. Because keep in mind, I never heard this until like Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter was putting up some old highlights.
Right, and they start putting up highlights and stuff. So, and I got to tell you, it sounds like
it's
Charles.
Not Charles Davis.
But it's
not Charles Davis. We know this now.
So let's bring Charles on.
Yeah,
I want to tell this story.
Let's go out to the Toyota of Hollywood guest line. Shop hundreds of Toyotas indoors in one of America's largest showrooms at Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood and Sheridan. And Charles Davis, the real Charles Davis, joins us there.
Charles, I have to tell this story because it's both embarrassing and hilarious at the same time. So I was doing now because I do the show with knuckleheads, they would play this over and over again. And I'm like, that Charles Davis. Why would he say that about me? My feelings were hurt, everything. So I do a show up in Cleveland, right?
Yes.
I tell the story, they show it, everybody's laughing and going, wow, why would somebody say that? Just so happens, Steve used to work with you.
Yeah.
So he sends the clip to Charles, right? And Charles says, that's hilarious, but it's not me. And I'm like,
and I have the receipts, as they say.
He had the receipts. He broke it down. This is where I was, 1999. Didn't do my first NFL game till 2006. Wasn't me. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I've been carrying this for so long. And I'm like, I am so sorry. And it was like, wow. So then I came back and told these guys, and they're like, no.
And we couldn't believe it, Charles. We couldn't believe it.
No. Because
it's too good, right?
It's one of our favorite clips to play. We had no idea.
And Charles, I'm going to tell you why I never really got really upset about it, because we always have a hard time with announcers saying stuff like that, because it's a hard sport. So, and I'm like, that's out of character for Charles, but I say, here's why I'm not going to get too mad. It might be an accurate assessment. And so, sometimes the truth hurts. How upset can I really be when,
I mean, Robert was an elite runner.
Yes.
Look, I mean, Robert he was legitimately on the track team at Ohio State. It wasn't ceremonial. It wasn't, hey, I'm padding my resume.
No.
Robert could legitimately run. So if Robert didn't play football, we would have been talking about Robert competing at the highest levels. Now, I never want to get carried away, because one of the things that we do as announcers, and first of all, happy holiday season to you, everyone out there.
Same to you.
I know Hanukkah began last Thursday, so happy Hanukkah to all our brothers and sisters out there. I don't know if you guys do Festivus, but we're not airing any grievances today.
For the Dolphins, we may be.
The Dolphins have a few grievances they need to air, but most of them need to start with looking in the mirror.
Yeah.
But we'll just go from there. Let's get back to why we're talking right now. I got that clip from Steve, and Steve was like, "Oh my God, this is what was about." And I looked at it, and I looked at the date, and I went.
We just lose connection with them, Marcos. With Charles. Charles, you there?
Hello?
Hey, Charles, we lost you there for a second.
You guys got me?
You got the clip from Steve.
Back?
Yeah, you got the clip from Steve.
Yes, I got the clip from Steve. And my first thought is, well, the date doesn't match up. But similar to that great Chris Rock routine where you get pulled over in your car and they keep hammering that you stole the car. And after a few minutes, you're like, well, maybe I did steal my own car, I was like, well, maybe I was there in 1999. I totally forgot. No, the answer was no. I listened to the clip and I said, well, I know that's not me. I can understand why you would think so. There are definitely some similarities in there. Real quick, have you determined who it was?
Ron
Because I have
Pitts.
a pretty good idea of who it is. It's Ron Pitts.
Yes.
Who? Now, here's a kicker, Leroy. When I was in high school and I visited UCLA on my recruiting trip, you know who my host was?
Ron Pitts.
Ron Pitts. Do you know who I work? Do you know who I've done NFL games with? Ron went from analyst to play-by-play announcer for 20 years.
Oh my God.
I got to do NFL games as his analyst. So
this
I
story
understand
just doesn't end. It all started.
now to put a cap on the whole thing to show you why you should have zero loss of sleep over thinking it's me. I was in Seattle X number of years ago getting ready for a game.
Uh-huh.
I'm walking the field, and for me, I walk the field early to try and work my nerves off. Okay,
Right.
so I'm making my last loop, and I'm coming into the tunnel to go back upstairs to the booth, and a guy's down in the lower level, and he starts screaming, "Hey, Ron! Hey, Ron! Hey, Pitsy!" And guys, you got to understand, I wish I had a lie detector test on me because this is the absolute truth. Okay, and I have people who were on my crew that I told the story to immediately that to this day they call me Pitsy. All right, so Pitsy, hey, Pitsy. And that day I was like, you know something? I'm not Ron, so I'm not playing into it today. I'm just going to be me. He's just wrong, and I kept walking. And finally, you hear the guy go, "Hey, you too good to acknowledge me? You too good to turn around and say hi, Pitsy? Well, bleep you."
Whoa.
As I go into the tunnel.
Wow.
And I was on the floor. I literally doubled over laughing inside the tunnel. Immediately pulled out my phone, called Ron, and said, "Yo, man, I'm sorry, but you're no good in Seattle anymore. Okay, I just want to let you know that your Seattle privileges have been revoked, and I apologize." And I told him the story, and he cracked up. So, Leroy, don't worry about that. It's actually been so much fun. I know that probably people on Twitter have been killing me because, I they thought it was me hurting you, and I get it. But I haven't been on Twitter since August of 2020. So those slings and arrows, they're hitting a wall that hasn't gotten to me. So we are good.
This
And
is
actually, I've been
insane.
getting the biggest kick out of it because now I get to talk to you guys. This part has been a whole lot of fun.
Oh my God.
like
I can't
this
believe
story,
all the dimensions it goes.
wait, this might be.
I mean, guys, this is better than Kevin Bacon in 6 Degrees. All right?
Yes, it's
Because everything that you've twisted in here, my ties with Ron are considerable. All right?
Right.
You've heard all of that. And let me put a cap on it. His father, Elijah Pitts,
yes.
who scored touchdowns in the Super Bowl, who was a great coach in the NFL as an assistant coach with the Buffalo Bills, where Ron grew up in Old Orchard Park. All of that goes together. Last year, Black College Football Hall of Fame. I get to host it every year with Steve Weich of NFL Network.
Yep.
Ron Pitts' father, Elijah Pitts, was inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame. And who accepted the award on his behalf? His son, Ron Pitts. Got to see Ron again. So don't worry about it, man.
Man.
Okay?
Well,
Don't worry about it.
I feel
And
like
by
with all
the way,
these ties, we're going to have to let Ron know that he's the one that needs to apologize to his comments.
and listen, if someone wants to mistake me for the great Ron Pitts, that's good for me. Okay? I mean, I'm
unless
actually
you're in
okay.
Seattle.
Unless I'm in Seattle. My man in Seattle is a little hostile now. Other than Seattle, we're probably in good shape. But, yeah, it's just one of those things where I was like, oh, my God. But you know what the kicker is? That year, I'm pretty sure, now I haven't gone and traced it, but I just saw Frank Gore last week, all right, the great Frank Gore. I did some of Frank Gore's high school games, okay? That would have been about that time. So I wasn't doing your NFL games. I was doing Frank's high school games. I did a high school game Frank played in, kid you not. He's put it on the deck 3 times in the first quarter. Now, any other back, of course, his night is over, right? But this is Frank Gore in high school. And coach is like, please, can you just hold on to the ball? Leroy, he finished with over 300 yards that night running the football.
Oh, man.
Good
Oh,
God.
man.
Charles, while we got you here, last night Miami Dolphins collapse on Monday Night Football. What did you make of it? Because obviously everybody in town here is freaking out after that one.
Yeah, understandably so, because that's one that shouldn't get away. I walked in to work out this morning, and my trainer is a is from Miami, is a Dolphins fan through and through, and he gave me that look that started with, if you say one word, I will break you working out today. So I came in and I was just like, hey, anything that don't break me. But then he says to me, they said on TV that this is the first time a team has lost in like 750 games with a 14-point lead in less than 4 minutes to go.
Yep.
And I was like, is there a response you want from me? Because I'm really afraid about what you're going to do today. Right. But bottom line is this. What has been the number one thing all of us, Tobin, Leroy, you, me, everyone listening, what's the number one thing we've said about Miami this year? They have not beaten anyone of note.
Right.
Right? When you really put it together, right? Denver, does that now count as note, considering how they pounded them back then?
Right.
They haven't beaten anyone of note, right? Then they lose to a team that's really going in the opposite direction here. And by the way, let's take a look at what's coming up now.
Yeah.
The Jets, great defense. Cowboys, right? Baltimore, Buffalo.
Yeah.
They're going to prove their bona fides and their chops, and we'll find out if this was just a bad last 4 minutes, or if this team is built with a lot of flash, but can they go the distance? We're going to find out.
Charles, you did the Browns game, and so I had to make sure.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah. Hey, I checked. It might have been Pittsburgh. No. I checked to make damn sure I didn't screw this up. What do you make of, like, when they talked about bringing in Joe Flacco?
Yes.
I said, I don't want a 38, 40-year-old quarterback coming in trying to pick up the offense when you got two guys who could probably grow into it. And I know it's not the best situation, but I think they would be better than a new guy coming in. And Joe Flacco has lit it up. Because did you realize his arm was that strong?
Listen, I will say this, and I've said it many times before. Listen, have you guys ever just hung out with that guy who had a big arm and all you ever wanted to do was play catch, whether it was baseball, throwing a rubber ball around, playing football? Let's play some catch because they had big arms, right?
Right.
Every big arm quarterback that I've ever known, I'm firmly convinced that everything else in their body goes on them. But before they lower the coffin lid, they uncork one more 50-yarder. That's just who they are.
Yes.
All right. They're the ones that when they have grandkids, the grandkids don't play catch because the grandpa throws it too hard. They're those people. And Joe Flacco is that person. I wanted to see the rest of it. I wasn't worried about the arm. I knew the arm would be fine. I wanted to see if he had any movement skills left. There's times he does look like a statue. You saw the 2 sacks he took at the end of the Rams game out west.
Yep.
But on Sunday, he actually moved a little bit better. Now, we're not going to mistake him with all of a sudden he's out there doing the huckabuck. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. But he moved well enough to slide in the pocket, small boot action, things of that nature. But he's at his best off of play action and throwing that bad boy downfield. And by the way, that Browns team, they have a whole different sense of confidence with him at quarterback.
Yes.
Because they certainly feel like he can get them there and the defense can relax and go play again. The defense was feeling like they had to win games.
Right.
Now they can just go play because they feel like the offense is going to move again. And that's what I felt Sunday walking out of that stadium, that the Browns are going to be a really tough out from here on out as long as Flacco's playing quarterback.
I've never seen a guy, a veteran, now granted he's won Super Bowl and he's been a Super Bowl MVP. I've never seen a guy get the ear or have the ear of every member on that team that quick.
And Leroy, you've done it. You've played. You know how sometimes when a guy shows up at a team, if someone else knew him and believed in him, they spread the word quickly through the locker room.
Yeah,
he has that with Elijah Moore.
Right. Okay.
Because Elijah Moore's only 100-yard game in his short NFL career, Joe Flacco was the quarterback.
Right.
And then the first game Flacco plays in Los Angeles, they hook up with a 42-yard pass. Then you saw what they did on Sunday. Yeah. Elijah Moore spread the gospel through the locker room quickly, that this guy is a dude. And Joe's whole manner, demeanor, bearing, he's ecstatic to be there. Like he doesn't mind being grandpa. All right. He loves it because he didn't think he'd get another shot. He said he told us that literally when the phone rang, he was on the verge of saying, well, I guess this is it.
Right.
So for him, he's playing with house money.
Right.
And he's loving it.
And he's got a
playing
chance
well.
to win.
And he's got a chance to win with a team, a defense that can flat out play for him.
Right.
The argument has always been, Tobin, how many times did you hear this question? Is Joe Flacco elite?
Oh, yeah.
Right? We went through
Yeah.
that like crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm going to put it to you this way. Everyone can fight it out about whether he's elite or not. His arm is elite, and who he is as a person is elite. And that translates really well for this Cleveland team.
Yes, it does.
Listen, we're going with a little bit of that. I'm a big Tua guy, but I think a lot of us are going through that this morning with him. It feels like whenever Tua gets onto these primetime stages, like he just doesn't have that last drive to put his team over the top. Charles, do you
Tobin, don't do it, Tobin.
I'm not.
Don't do it. Don't you put that trash mouth on Tua like that.
I love him.
Don't you put that evil on Tua like that.
I love him, Charles, but like every time it feels like they're on Sunday Night Football.
Tobin, I'm doing Michael Clark Duncan and Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that evil talk on me, Ricky Bobby.
I have to talk him off the cliff.
Kirk Cousins on it, man. You're putting Kirk Cousins on it.
People are saying that, Charles. People are saying they're saying lefty Kirk Cousins on him, that he can't win in prime time.
Kirk Cousins.
See, you did it. You put it on, and you're putting the hex on Tua like that. He doesn't need that right now.
Charles, it's been a pleasure. We have to do this again. And
anytime, you guys call anytime. This has been a blast for
and
me.
when I'm in Orlando,
when I'm in
Orlando, I will. All right, brother.
Call me. All right, okay. Call me. Call me. You know what we'll do? We'll call Pitsy.
Thanks, Charles.
Charles Davis joined us there. We appreciate the time and the fun with him.